guys, so my name's Tim from Songhurst Caravans, and today we're going to be cleaning this big boy Challenger X that's come into us for a service. So there's lots of things that people are scared of doing on caravans. To be honest, they're probably good things to be scared of. So we're going to run through many questions, big ones, i.e. should you use your jet wash or not? That's a massive question we probably get asked about 5 times a week, so that's a big thing to cover off. To be honest, my answer is going to be yes, so I can sort of give you a spoiler alert already. As you can see in the title, this video has been made by Jennychem, so we do use Jennychem products, so we'll just run through what we use. We actually do use these on an everyday basis as well, so it's not just a paid for partnership. We are actually using their gear. Jet washes. Here one is, we've got a nice snazzy coloured one, but they're absolutely fine to use as long as you use it in the correct way. So there's certain parts of the van that are just not made to be hit with a jet wash. You've got to remember that your caravan isn't a car, so there's lots of rubber seals, mastics that are sticking this thing together. And if you hit them too hard with a jet wash, you're just going to be pushing water into those seals, which will inhibit the seal long term, and therefore you're going to have water ingress. And obviously that's everybody's biggest nightmare with one of these. So places to avoid, especially the awning rails. So just don't hit the awning rails either side of the rail. Running through where the awning channel itself is absolutely fine. That's completely sealed and you're not going to get any water into the van there. But anything down the seals, that's a big no-no. Apart from if you stand well back, and I mean really, really far back. So we're talking at least sort of 3 foot back, depending on the pressure of your jet wash. Who's grinding? The window on a caravan is completely different to a car. So the window is just compressed up against a rubber seal. So that rubber seal can only do so much about holding the water back. So definitely don't get your jet wash in there and give it a big blast, because you're just going to be pushing water underneath the window and into the caravan. So that's a big no-no. But apart from that, you're generally pretty safe to hit everywhere. Just don't go really close in. You can get jet washes like we've got with a nice fan, which is what you need. So if you've got a lancy jet wash where it can really pierce into the body, don't do it. But a nice fan, that's absolutely perfect. And yeah, that's the jet wash question. You can definitely use it. Use it. Don't waste time not using it. You're safe to use it. Just take it easy. So now we've got over the jet wash question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through how we clean the vans here. Servicing, for one we've sold, we go through exactly the same process using exactly the same gear as what you see in front of me. So first up, we're going to start with the roof. We don't want to wash the sides and then all of the stuff on the roof to be washed down and make the sides dirty again. The roof is actually the hardest part of the van to clean. Sometimes you look at a roof and it's like almost got a layer of grass on it. It's quite impressive. So the roof's the hardest part to tackle. What we'll do first is we're going to get the roof nice and wet, and then what we'll then do, once we've got it all wet and got most of the debris off with the jet wash, is we're then going to hit it with the caravan cleaner, and we're going to leave that on the roof for about 5 minutes before we agitate it. Sunbeams that bring joy look into my eyes. So now we've got the roof nice and wet, we can start scrubbing it. There's certain bits of the roof that you've got to be careful of. Skylights are one, they can be so brittle, so you've got to be really careful with the skylights in regards to how you treat them. You don't want to hit them because they can snap. You also got to be really careful with the hinges because they can be brittle and snap also. What I'd recommend is actually going into the caravan once you've got the roof nice and wet and lifting the skylights up. What you can then do is you'll be able to then use a brush. We use all sorts of brushes here. We've got just a standard broom brush. We've got a little pokey brush that we get around the frames clean and then pop them closed before you have your final spray off. Just be really, really careful with the brushes that you use around the skylights. The other thing that you need to be careful of is entry glands for the solar panel wiring and aerials, things like that. They tend to just have rubber grommets. If you hit them too hard with the jet wash or brush them too thoroughly, you possibly could damage them and then you could cause water ingress into the van. Get the van nice and wet. Try and get as much dirt as you possibly can off with the jet wash. again, just keeping it a good distance away from the body. We can get into all of the crevices with this, so there's always the normal sort of places. You're not going to upset, as I get that my wire caught. You're not going to hurt any of the van down here, so you can really hit it hard. This between the body and the A-frame's always a kiddie that always gets missed. Again, we're just going to get the van nice and wet. So now we're going to hit the body. So we use exactly the same process that we use for the roof to begin with. So again, we've got our Caravan cleaner. So we give it a good liberal spray all over. You've got to give it a really even cover. Some things you have to be a little bit wary of with this product is you don't want to leave it on the body for a particularly long time, especially around the sort of stickers and the decals on the side. This product's pretty good. It's non-caustic, so it doesn't tend to bleed into the stickers. But if it's a particularly old Caravan, it can do. So you've just got to be aware of that and work relatively quickly. So you don't want to leave this on for more than sort of, I would say, 5 minutes. So now we've used the Caravan cleaner and the jet wash to get off most of the debris, we can now go on to the wash and wax. Quite often what we'll do at this stage is we'll actually hit the panel again before we use the wash and wax with the Caravan cleaner. We just find it cuts through everything, so it's a bit of a mix. We use this big brush. We don't use this big brush over the windows, which is quite important. The worst thing you can do is have horribly scratchy windows when you look out in the sun and you can see all the scratches in the windows. We don't want to do that. So we use a soft mitt for the windows and we use this big chunky brush for the actual body, the white bits as it were of the Caravan, and the black front on this one. So yeah, we just work it in just as you would a car really. And these are great little brushes. Just to work in and around all the sort of side lights, up the awning rails. So again, where we didn't want to hit it with the jet wash. Nice. So we've got the panel really nice and clean now. So this is the last step where we just want the water to bead off as quickly as possible. So we've got a dilution of just this super cold wax and we literally spray it all over the panel. Windows are cool as well. Just go over the whole thing and it just brings up a really good sheen. I'm using this little spray bottle, but it will work perfectly. So we'll leave that on there. Leave it on for a couple of minutes, use your hose or your jet wash just to spray that off, and that's the final step. Excellent, so as you can see, the Caravan's looking a little bit better than it did this morning. It'll dry off really nicely. That's it. If you've got any other questions, just hit me up. I'm Tim at Songhurst Caravans, or hit up Jenny Chem.